Right, so I've been making a few items on my 3D printer for my bikes recently. The general theme is just trying to make light aero parts. They're all pretty simple parts. So let's take a look at these. So let's start with this. So this is, it was just an exercise to see how light I could get a top cap. See if I can get the camera to focus on that. Yep, there we go. So this is a top cap for the headset. You can see it's hollow, and I've put as many holes in the bolt bits as possible. And then I've put these supports on here, kind of like a two-cross wheel. I did a bit of FEM on this, so it should hold up. And then on the top here, it has a Torx bolt. The top is 0.7 mils thick, which is the thinnest that you can really print with SLS without too much chance of it breaking. And then you can see on the inside, I don't know if you can see that, there's a kind of ridge and spokes to give it a little bit more rigidity. Kind of tricky to show, the camera wants to focus on the scales. There we go. There we go. So you can see that. It would be easier if I hadn't done it in black. Yeah, so you wouldn't get the tension in the bearings with this, but once you've got the tension in the bearings and you've got the stem down, you see you've got the threads here on the end. You could replace the normal headsets with this just to save a little bit of weight. Very much a weight-weenie project. Let's have a look at this now. So this top cap with the bolt is 0.79 grams, so well under a gram. It's the lightest I've ever seen. I'm not sure if you could make this commercially because it's pretty delicate and I think people would break it, but if you use it yourself, absolutely fine. Once you've got the tension on the headset bearing, this part doesn't really do anything, it just covers the top, and it's kind of handy to have these threads so it can hold on to something. Okay, then we've got a pretty similar version but without the bolt. It's got a countersunk hole here, so you could use this with just a normal alloy countersunk bolt. Yep, you could probably get the tension with this one. I haven't tested that yet, but the FEM says that you could. If I put that on here, I've got 0.65 of a gram. I probably wouldn't actually use this to get tension except for in an emergency because I think it's probably going to crack. But again, use a normal top cap and a bolt to get the tension, and then put this on, and I think you'd be fine. And then the last part is this. This is a headset spacer with integrated bearing cover. So you see inside, it's pretty much just like a normal spacer. The internal diameter of this cylinder matches the stereo tube, and the external diameter matches the dimensions of the stem at the top, and then it tapers slightly outwards, and at the bottom it matches the diameter of the split ring on my headset. So those walls are fairly thick. They'll be well supported by the stereo tube when they're in use. It has to basically just be used in compression to hold the preload of the bearing. And then on top of that, there's the frontal area has been designed to be as minimal as possible. So you normally have conical spacers with a bigger frontal area than this. And then from the side, it's got as much chord depth as possible for aerodynamics. So, you know, I mean, it's going to, I don't know how much difference it will really make in the real world, but it should make the bike very, very slightly more aerodynamic. Those walls are supported by a couple of struts inside. You can probably see them if I hold it just right. And these walls are 0.7 mil thick again, so they're about as thin as you can get on the 3D printer, and this part is probably about as light as it can be. Just pop it on the scale, and we've got 5.44 grams, which I think is pretty good. It would weigh quite a lot more. Normally you would have a separate bearing cover. That's this kind of skirt part made of aluminium, and then you'd have spacers on top, typically made of carbon fibre, and that would weigh quite a lot more than this. And well, without taking it to a wind tunnel, I can't be sure, but I'm reasonably confident this will be more aerodynamic than round spacers. Okay, so they're the 3 parts that I got from the Princess today. I'm quite happy with how they turned out. I'm going to be trying them out soon. Okay, cheers.